All right, welcome to Mama's Boy Sports Talk. That's my mama,
Hello.
and I'm her little boy. We talk sports. So let's get into it. How you doing, mama?
I'm doing well, Reed. It's hump day, so it's always a good thing. Hump day. Look forward to that. Nothing
Right.
major.
So we're on the other side of the hump now?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. And that's it's funny too when when you're retired, that you could actually have a hump day. You would think that all days would be hump days. So, but
Right. Is every day not Friday when you're retired?
yeah, yes, yes, it really is. But working a little bit part time. So, but yes, essentially every day is kind of a hump day when you're retired.
We'll get to your part-time work in a minute. I have an interesting tidbit for you, but let's get to the NFL first. So 2 weeks ago, Pittsburgh Steelers were undefeated, and now they sit here with two losses, and they've lost home field advantage to the Kansas City Chiefs. You have any thoughts on that?
I remembered, I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago when you asked me about, I think the standings, and I told you that I did not believe that Pittsburgh was for real. And you
Right.
asked me, I mentioned Buffalo. I thought Buffalo, had a really, really good team. They reminded me of, I guess, a younger Pittsburgh. They seem to have a better defense, and, the quarterback is coming into his own. But I'm really not surprised because Pittsburgh, I think they caught teams that some not so good teams. And when the Cowboys nearly beat them, struggling the way that they were, that kind of sealed it for me with regards to how good that Pittsburgh was. Not that the Cowboys were bad, but I mean, they really played them tough and they should have won that game. So, yeah.
We kind of yeah, we didn't beat them, but we kind of laid the foundation. It seems,
Yes.
they since they played us and squeaked by us, it
Yes.
seems that they have kind of come back to earth. The receivers aren't helping big men at all. They have one guy, Johnson, I believe. Like he's had the last two games, he's had like 7 or 8 drops. And I know the Steelers receivers lead the league in drops, so it's actually amazing to me that they were undefeated to begin with,
I
considering.
know. I know. Well, maybe they should spend more time, catching the ball and less time dancing on the opposing team's logo. That could be something that they could do.
I did see Juju doing that, and it certainly you certainly can't. I mean, it was fine when you were doing it when y'all were undefeated, but two losses
Right.
in a row.
Yeah.
Let's find some new shtick or something.
That's true. That is true.
So home field advantage, KC has that. They once again they did just enough to win. They're turning it on and off. I believe they were the game against the Dolphins this past week. They were down 10-0. Next thing you know, it's 30-10 Kansas City, and I believe the final score may have been 34-27.
I think it was a little closer than it. The score made it appear to be a little closer than it really was.
Right. Do you think it's going to catch up with them the way that they're turning it on and off, especially with the playoffs being single elimination, or does it not matter and we just need to go ahead and basically go ahead and FedEx their Super Bowl trophy to them now?
Every team can have a bad game, and you just never know what happens. Defensively, they scare me. Some days they can't stop the run, other games they can't seem to stop the pass. I still believe that they can turn it on and off when they want to, but you just never know. It'll take one game. Something happens to Patrick Mahomes, and
Oh yeah,
I
if he
don't
gets
know.
hurt, right, all bets are off at that point.
Yes,
Right,
yes. So,
would
but
agree.
I don't know if they're bored or what the situation is, but you just can't keep continue to try to turn it on and off like that. Putting your hand over the fire because at one point, you may get
Gonna
you
get
may get
burned.
burned.
Gonna
Yes.
get burned. The NFC, Green Bay, they have home field. You have any MVP thoughts? It seems to have come down to Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers at this point. Are you leaning either way?
I think because Mahomes, I don't know if you what's the term? If you really get comfortable with what he's doing seems to be commonplace that you don't really give him the benefit of the doubt. I think it's between him and I think it's between Aaron Rodgers. And I don't know if Aaron has less to work with than Mahomes does. And so for that reason, because he has less to work with, maybe giving the MVP, nod to Aaron at this particular time. But home field advantage, I don't think it's going to really matter Because I don't, are they having fans in the games, or do they
They're,
have
they're,
fans in the
it's varying by state. Like the Cowboys have had a handful of thousand or so people. I think it really depends on each state and their COVID restrictions and protocols at this point.
Okay. Okay. So with regards to that, we'll see. But I think it's between Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. But right now, I would give the odd to Rodgers just because he seems to have less weapons to work with than Mahomes does.
Right. That's true. That's true. Before we switch gears, I want to remind all the Dallas Cowboy haters that we did win this past Sunday. Andy Dalton returned to Cincy and he brought home a win for us. So good
Yeah,
work, Cowboys.
I was happy for him too that he was able to get that win. And I don't, not really rub it in their faces. He's not that type, but just the fact that he was able to go home, well, that his home besides TCU, but to go home and get a win would have probably made him feel good. I'm sure it
Sure.
did.
He spent what 10 plus years there. I mean, you want
Yes,
to show up and win for sure.
exactly, exactly, exactly.
Going to NCAA football, the college football playoff rankings. In order, we have Alabama at 1, Notre Dame 2, Clemson 3, and Ohio State 4. Now, I do believe Notre Dame and Clemson have a rematch this weekend. Notre Dame won the first time, but that's because Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor
Well,
Lawrence.
I don't want to say it's because Trevor Lawrence had COVID that they lost, but the fact he didn't play certainly had to contribute in some way. Your thoughts on the rankings themselves and maybe that Notre Dame Clemson rematch?
I think the like you said, to your point, Clemson did beat Notre Dame, but they beat them without. I'm sorry, Notre Dame did beat Clemson, but they beat them without Trevor Lawrence. But I believe Notre Dame took a pretty good lead, and I think Clemson, if I'm recalling, they rallied, so the game wasn't too bad. But I think, to me, Alabama seems to be the team that's far and above everyone from an offensive and a defensive perspective. Coaching, I mean, Saban can miss a game with COVID, and was this Sarkeesian can he can step in and they don't
Didn't
miss a
skip a
beat.
beat. Right, it didn't
Yeah,
skip a beat.
yeah. They just to me they seem to be far and ahead above all the other teams. Clemson, we'll see. I don't know if maybe Dabo is holding something back, not letting all of his cards on the table. I have a sneaking suspicion that perhaps that's what's happening, but we'll see. I think we'll see where Clemson is. To me, I believe it's Saturday when they play Notre Dame for the ACC, um, I believe, title.
That'll be a big one for sure. And just we have A&M at 5th, Texas A&M at 5th, and Iowa State at 6th, looking to move up, to see if they could replace the loser of the Notre Dame Clemson game. Let's see here. Basketball. Before we get out of here, let's go basketball. Any thoughts on Giannis Antetokounmpo's Supermax 5-year, $228 million contract?
I guess that settles all the talk about whether or not he was going to be looking to leave, signing that contract. I'm happy for him. Perhaps he can be one of those players that will stay with one team, kind of a small market team. But that's a lot of money. Maybe they can get a few better players, around him so that they won't go out so early in the playoffs. When you give someone that amount of money, it kind of limits, who you can bring on, other players.
Sure.
But you might as well get it. Get it while you
It was
can.
I wasn't surprised necessarily that he stayed, but I was surprised he re-signed so early. Most star players will make the franchise squirm a little bit, but he obviously had different thoughts. Now he can opt out after the 4th year, and I think at that point he'll just be 30 years old anyway. So this isn't
Yeah,
the last time we've heard Giannis receiving a record-breaking contract. There'll be another one. There'll be
I
another one.
agree. I agree. Totally.
Did you see Kevin Durant's preseason debut? First game in 552 days. He had 15 points in 24 minutes.
I watched a little bit of it. I can't remember who they played, but I watched a little bit. I was scrolling, I think that day. I was probably watching CNN. There was probably something else going on that I was watching. What did he do?
He had first game in 552 days. He had the Achilles injury.
Yes.
15 points in 24 minutes. Also, Zion, he had 26 points and 11 rebounds in 33 minutes. I think
Oh,
he was
okay.
at like a 20 to 25 minute restriction, like all last season and in the bubble. But he played 33 preseason minutes. Zion did.
And he did something besides dunks.
I didn't see. I only saw highlights. I didn't see one dunk highlight. I saw a lot of offensive rebounds and putbacks, and
Okay.
him kind of posting up and like a quick spin move. You know, with him being left-handed, everyone's trained to defend a right-handed player. So him just being lefty and quick and strong, that'll be an advantage he'll have his whole career.
Yeah, that is true.
No doubt
Who
about
did
that.
who did who did New Jersey play?
I don't remember who they played necessarily. It was just all about seeing KD out there. You know, his
Okay.
first play, he went baseline, he dunked it.
Okay.
Kyrie played okay, but I know how you're feeling about Kyrie
Yeah.
and his
Yeah. Yeah,
Kyrie.
he's very eccentric. He's eccentric. Yeah, in a kind of a
He's annoyingly eccentric is fine. I have my quirks. We all have our quirks. But Kyrie, so you want to talk mess about LeBron, then you want to say you're not talking about LeBron.
exactly.
Then you say you don't have time. Your time is worth more than speaking to pawns. And then you
Right.
say, "Oh, I wasn't talking about the media." Like,
Right. Yeah, that passive aggressive type of
exactly.
yeah, yes, exactly. Those the fakery I call it. It's just
You
fakery.
did. You called it that last week, and he's obviously very intelligent, thinks highly of himself, as we all should. But he's just smart enough to get himself in trouble, and
Exactly.
that's why he finds himself in these situations repeatedly. Wanted to get your thoughts on Steph Curry's braids.
I just saw that and I'm thinking, huh. I just really like the clean cut look. You can't it's just different. Everyone can't pull that off. He just I just like the clean cut kind of look but he likes it, and I guess if his wife likes it, then what can I say? But
Maybe
it's
he's
just
wanting an
different.
edgier look, or maybe Chris Webber wore braids for like 2 or 3 weeks, and he realized it wasn't him, and then he went back to the mini fro or the bald look. But
Right.
I kind of like it on Steph. I'm wondering what his sponsors think, and like you say, everyone saw him as the wholesome, clean cut guy,
Exactly.
the everyman of the NBA, and
And he's breaking out in these braids, these cornrows is okay. Yes. Well,
I
what
thought
can
of
you
you as soon
say?
as I saw it. I was like, yeah, I gotta ask Mama about that.
Because when I saw that, I'm thinking, does he have braids? Is that what's in his hair? Who does he
Right.
think he is? Russ? Oh.
Before we get out of here, do you have any final points you want to make, Mama?
Want to talk about baseball?
Sure, go ahead. Yeah.
Just a couple of things about baseball. One of them, Adam Wainwright, who is Cardinal ace. Well, he's no longer the ace, but he's still the head of the rotation. He won the Roberto Clemente Award. It's a humanitarian award that it's really given to all baseball players. And one of the things that Adam did is provided water, clean water sources for people in Haiti. Imagine he's on a trip in Haiti and he's seeing people going with these buckets, dipping these buckets of water into ditches, mud holes. And he's asking the drivers, well, what are they doing with that water? And the driver says they're drinking it, they're bathing in it, they are washing their clothes in it. So through his foundation, he was able to put faucets, clean water faucets, in Haiti and other countries. He also, I believe, has an orphanage, that where children can go and be taken care of. And he has always done humanitarian things, but that award it's probably the greatest award that you can receive in baseball from a non-baseball perspective. And of course, it's named after Roberto Clemente, who was
Right.
killed in a plane crash, I believe in Nicaragua. Don't quote me on that, but he was taking supplies to, some of his country people.
He was Puerto Rican legend, correct?
Yes, Puerto Rican, exactly. So
Okay.
he's a legend, yes. And the second thing, just today, the Major League Baseball decided to recognize the Negro Leagues. It was the 100th year of the
Wow.
Negro League Baseball. So this year they decided to recognize the players and their statistics. So the
Oh,
statistics that they got in the Negro Leagues, the record books they're going to be added to the record books. Now, baseball, they're going to have to decide how they're going to do that, but they are going to, their numbers will, they will count towards Major League Baseball. Some of the Major League Baseball players, like Cool Papa Bell, he was from St. Louis, probably one of the fastest players. I remember my father telling me that Cool Papa Bell, he would turn the lights out and he would be in the bed before the lights. Uh, Lou Brock, who is, the greatest base stealer in my opinion. Sorry,
Sure.
Ricky
Me
Williams,
too.
but he watched Cool Papa Bell. That's how he became, the legend that he is. And Satchel Paige
Yes.
pitched up until he was, 60, 70 years of age. But, the Negro League statistics will be recognized by Major League Baseball, and that was made official this year. So
What speaking of which, like one that stands out to me, I know they say Josh Gibson was either close to or hit more home runs than Babe Ruth. So where will he stand on like the all-time home run list if this
and
is
see that's where they're going to have to rectify that. And I think the Elias Sports Bureau will work with Major League Baseball to quantify the numbers to see where he fits in that equation, right? Right.
okay?
And yeah, so
Well, good
those,
information, Mama. Before I get out of here, first I want to recognize Fran Belibi. She's a post player from Stanford. Last night, or one of her most recent games, she got a steal, stole the pass, crossed the girl over, and then dunked it. Like, it was. I'll post a video of it. I'll attach it to the video we're doing. It was. We've seen plenty of women dunk. I've never seen a woman steal the ball, cross a girl over, dribble, midway down or halfway down the court, and then elevate and dunk it, just all
I
like
have
that.
to
And it
see
was
that. Yes.
effortless dunk, right? I'd
Yes.
seen videos of her dunking in high school, but this was apparently her first college dunk. On the heels of Tara Vanderveer breaking Pat Summitt's all-time wins record for the same
Yes.
school, for Stanford.
Yes. Okay.
Sarah Fuller, the women's kicker. Well, she's a kicker, not a woman's kicker, but the kicker for Vanderbilt. She had 2 extra points. She was a little bummed because all she did in her first game was kick the ball off, but she actually got on the board. She had 2 extra points. And I told you I wanted to mention your part-time job. I've heard that she's transferring to where you work, to North Texas. She's transferring to North Texas for next year. She's going to complete her soccer season with the Vanderbilt women's team. And then, like, she's from Wiley, apparently.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I read an article on her right before we got together. And yeah, she's transferring to North Texas. So
To
she's
play
coming
to their football team or
now. She said, she hasn't spoken to them about football. I guess it would be soccer related.
soccer. Okay.
But she did say, hey, my services, if the team needs me, let me know.
Oh, wow. How exciting is that then to be able to do that at home?
Thought you'd like to
Okay.
hear that. And on a boxing note, we got Gennady Golovkin fighting Friday on the Zone, and then we have Canelo Alvarez fighting Saturday on the Zone.
Okay. Good deal then. That sounds good.
All right, well, that's all we got. This is another edition of Mama's Boy Sports Talk. I love you, Mama.
I love you, Reed. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.